This will be a little bit ponderous because it's not easy to contemplate the multilitudinous tongues of the double jointed jaw aristocrat of British media, Brian Eno. Especially when you're being abused by UW Dialectical in the name of martyrdom to John Lennon, I guess is what's in stock. But though they carved the totem of their goblin of meditation, their concept art around loyalty, you would have to be pretty stupid to think that they understand or have any real concept of loyalty in any way, shape, or form. Loyalty to Reagan is loyalty to Lennon, is loyalty to McCartney, is loyalty to Oliver Stone. That's a cargo cult mission of these moguls in the peculiar institution known as legacy media. I adored Bob Prince. I used to go to Forbes Field to him. Kiss it goodbye. When I first realized I was deaf, one of the tragedies that mortified me as a little boy was I couldn't follow the games on the transistor anymore. Can you imagine? I mean, it's not as bad as what the children of Gaza went through, but it was pretty bad. And Pittsburgh crows that their loyalty is to the kid who used to mock him and me and everyone else because it's a higher brand of loyalty. The way loyalty to Reagan is a higher brand of loyalty than loyalty to JFK. And I was brutalized as a child. And one of the reasons was at Dilworth School, I made clear that I opposed the Vietnam War. It was obvious that I did. And though my mother denies it, we lived right across the street and they forced me to walk to Fulton School a mile away. And they beat me up. And Fulton was worse. So I was disloyal. I mean, Bob Prince would have held his nose like as distastefully as if someone had offered him a urine specimen. If they had said to him, Jimmy, Pimmy, Wimmy, Quimmy, the 9-year-old you just gave an autograph to, doesn't like the napalm bombings on TV. He would say, I better have a word with Bruce Springsteen before we give him any more autographs. And none dare call them dumbheads. David Bowie, Peter Fripp, lampooned Jimmy Carrey hitchhiking from Pittsburgh to St. Louis, a sincere gesture. I visited my grandparents in Topeka, too. I hitchhiked out to Topeka to see my grandparents. I did not ask them to buy me a bus ticket home. They loved that they got to see me. It was a wonderful, wonderful occasion. My grandmother was absolutely breathtaking, beautiful. And we had a righteous good time. He lampooned this gesture with Bowie playing two people, one Arabian you know, frizzle toe wiggler in a gigolo outfit in a Mardi Gras. And the other spider-like, boyish um, groupie clambering up the building, following him around to impress his girlfriend, and of course the Bowie of uh, glam rock makes off with the girl. I'm not sure what happened to the poor boy who was crying from rejection, but he was somehow Mr. Misloyal because he didn't heal correctly. You see, the feminazi addict is that the woman can go be off with another man, and you have to internally accept that. And if you don't, Fripp will hold his nose and drop his pick, and you will be castrated. And if you try with a girl who, like what you're supposed to do, according to Aaron Gandhi, is if you meet a girl and she wants to take you to bed, you're supposed, for one thing, you're supposed to take out your worry beads and count to 50, 52, 51. You count your worry beads and you recite the Krishna suras. And then say, when I finish with the Krishna suras, I will satisfy you as you desire, Demoiselle. And you don't keep your word to that either. You go around to each of the rooms in the collective and say, did anybody call dibs on this demoiselle? Meanwhile, she's saying, I never liked you to begin with. You missed your chance. So you're supposed to miss your chance. And when they take off with somebody else, you're not supposed to cry. In fact, the whole point of having a girl you like is to see Paul McCartney set her up with your enemy. That's the whole point. And that's Trump's definition of loyalty. One of the magna cums of Zion Nazi putrescence in Pittsburgh, Thaws, said Hitler would have been nothing more abominated than to see Germany in the arms of his enemies. And of course, he has a picture of John Lennon on his bedroom wall. And Bowie, takes Beauty and the Beast with Men Who Tortured Me and the woman who I iconographied to the way I liked John Lennon, which was Lennon's way of saying what Tom O'Connor used to say. You like John Lennon? I'd say, yes. He'd say, well, he don't like you. Ha 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 ha. And this is what's known in Pittsburgh as loyalty. It's a very precious phenomenon, like one of their products. So you have loyalty to the United States, which means that any time somebody new is elected, you overturn what the person before you did and rack up more debt to the weasels in the military. And that's called loyalty. If Franklin Delano Roosevelt wanted the Vichy French out of Indochina, what do? You elect Harry Truman, who calls it the Truman Doctrine, to say, no, we have to stand behind the Vichy French in Indochina. Yeah, yeah. You find evidence that John Lennon faked his death John Wayne made films with Marines singing in German. Kennedy was killed, and it was glorified by the Japanese in alliance with Ronald Reagan. And that's loyalty, to accept that, to not question that, to give a deaf victim of torture Parkinson's because he cried when a girl made Robert Fripp drop his pick by rejecting the queer bait. See, who was this girl? She was a girl who I was in love with. We made out for hours. I was not eligible to father her children because they had implanted a neuroplasm. And so she came in with the deep, suggestive looks and crossed the border to the papal estate of my privacy, and made love to me so that they could detonate this neuroplasm. Boom! And prance around campus, splattering the scene with vile images, and say, who's jealous possessive? Who's jealous possessive? Don't say like John Lennon. And this made Fripp drop his pick because jealous possessive clambered up a building. He climbed up a building like Spider-Man to get an autograph from the real heroic figure. And the real heroic figure made off with his girlfriend, gave the beauty to the beast of his enemy. And the poor, sad cunt-napper, queer ball, wept. That'll teach you some loyalty, queer ball.